Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor here, and we are back with another video. Yes, it is 4 videos, everybody, in 2 days. So make sure you're going over, liking all the content. Make sure you're checking it out as well. I hope you're enjoying what's going on at the minute, and I'm trying to provide a little bit more content. But what I want to say before the video starts as well, everyone, is I really enjoy doing these topics, these debates. I think it's fascinating. I've done a Cody Drame one earlier. If you're enjoying these style of content, please make sure, as I said, you hit the like button. Go over and check the Cody Drame video out I made earlier on. Really interesting. A lot of very, very fascinating talking points in the comment section below, so make sure you go over and do that. That video was out at 12 today, but I'm doing another one because this has irked me. It really has, and I want to get your guys' opinion on everything we're going to be discussing in this video. Yes, I'm copping my Germany shirt. Believe it or not, I was wearing this anyway today. Absolutely love this German shirt. The Germans do provide such incredible gear sometimes. So yeah, absolutely love this top. And it's ironic that today I'm going to be talking about our German centre-back, Robin Koch. So there's been a fair few rumours today that apparently Robin is going to be leaving Leeds United in the summer for less than Leeds United bought him for. Now, listen, every single rumour, we always talk about it on the rumour mill, it can be taken with a pinch of salt. I always say that. Some people still get confused in the comment section below. They seem to think that I am actually saying that this is going to happen. I am not. It is a rumour. But what I want to take away from this is it's not the actual rumour, because you get loads of channels who just talk about rumours and that's it. Don't give you anything behind it. I want to discuss it. I want to talk about it. I want to articulate my feelings and why I think this would be a bad idea for Leeds United to get rid of our German centre-back. For a start, he's never had a fair crack at the whip, in my opinion. We'll be going through the disadvantages and advantages of him leaving Leeds United. But if this was to happen in the summer, I don't understand it, because he's never been given a fair crack of the whip. Fascinating to see that Marcelo Bielsa, in my opinion, he wasn't his top two in terms of centre-back. I think the top two in terms of centre-back was always going to be Diego Llorente and Liam Cooper at the moment. And I think it's because they're the two most experienced centre-backs, because by God, in my opinion, we can talk about recency bias, but when you're looking at the future and you're looking at the potential of these two players that we've got coming up in Pascal Struijk and Robin Koch, there's absolutely no way, when we're talking about potential, that Liam and Diego, for me, get near to these two. These two, Struijk and Robin, are the two going into the future, and then you've got maybe Charlie Cresswell, hopefully trying to sort of nudge them out of the positions that they're in and providing competition. But I think it is key to note that Charlie Cresswell's barely played any first-team football for Leeds United, so we need a bigger sample size. So for me, going forward, the clarification is Pascal Struijk and Robin Koch are the future centre-backs. For me, next season, it should be those two. I really like them. We've not seen enough of them together, and I think it would be a disservice. I think it would be a real crying shame if we didn't see more of these two together and Robin was to leave in the summer. So the report is suggesting, once again, take it with a pinch of salt, that Leeds are going to let him go for 11 million, which is an operating loss on the player that we brought in, which was 13 million from Freiburg. It was one of Leeds' big acquisitions. Last summer, it was one of our first acquisitions. It was one of the first rumours I'd heard in terms of who we were going to bring in that summer. There was, we brought in Rafinha later, Rodrigo later, but Diego Llorente later, but Robin Koch was the one who they were wanting. Robin Koch was the one who they've been touting for a while, and Robin Koch was the one, everybody, who was being looked at by Spurs and Arsenal only a year earlier. So this guy came with a lot of pedigree, and Leeds did extremely well. I said it was one of the bargains of the summer, getting this guy over the line. German international, a fully fledged German international, by the way, not just an international because certain setups can't find centre backs, so or players in other positions. I do, in my opinion, look at the Spanish players that we have got, and I do think to myself, Diego Llorente, Spain is struggling for centre backs at the minute. That's well noted. And when Rodrigo was in and this isn't damning his recent performances because they've been absolutely excellent, but Spain naturally have struggled with number nines. They have, and Rodrigo was a part of that, but he wasn't really what Spanish number 9 delivers in terms of goals and even assists. Rodrigo never really filled that void. The reason I mentioned those two is because people seem to quote back, we've got other internationals, but Robin Koch is a fully fledged lad who Joachim Low, who Hansi Flick, we're going to get onto their comments in Robin in a little bit, but they're two managers, two world-class managers, two top-tier managers who have been monitoring Robin and been putting him in their squads frequently. Happens all the time. The only sort of period of time he didn't get in the squad was obviously because of his injury, but you had Hansi Flick wanting daily, weekly reports on Robin Koch whilst he was in the USA receiving surgery. This is the level that this guy's at. You know, he's so highly rated in Germany, so highly rated. I remember I did a video a while back on the channel, and it was all about Robin coming to Leeds. And I believe it was a German football network on the channel. I might try find it out and put it back on the channel, rehash it. And they were saying he's one of the prodigies coming up at the minute. He's a very, very good centre back. A lot of people in Germany look at him and say that he's going to be the next one off the conveyor belt. He's 25 now, so he's got a little bit more experience, played in the Bundesliga, has played in the Premier League, but he's never really had a full crack. He's played 31 times for Leeds United. 13 of those times that he's played for Leeds have been at centre-back. Now, you actually look at his time at Freiburg, he played 87 times at Freiburg. 40 times were at centre-back. So over there, he was still deployed as a defensive midfielder. So I still think that his best position is a centre-back. And the reason behind that is because I think that he's very, very good in terms of interpretation, where the ball's going. He's a very perceptive centre-back, judges the game well, high football IQ. You look at his height, he's very dominant, in my opinion, in the air. He's growing into himself a little bit in terms of his physicality and his athleticism. I think that's come on leaps and bounds. He's found a voice. I think he's a little bit more vocal when it pans to him in terms of an organiser at the back for Leeds United. And, when you look at it, that these German international managers from the 21s upwards have seen that in Robin Koch. Marcelo Bielsa saw that in Robin Koch. And I just find this conversation, I'm hoping it's rubbish. It might be rubbish, but I find it absolutely bizarre when he's come back from injury. He's finding himself within the setup a little bit more. But I do have to say, I was completely confused at the weekend when I saw Jesse Marsch still playing Diego Llorente. I like Diego, but for me, I've said it before, he's not got the calmness, the composure, and the assurance that a Robin Koch gives you. And I think, when the ball goes over the top, I think Robin is more assured. I think he's pacier. And I just think overall he's a better package in terms of a calming influence. We know that Jesse Marsch likes physical centre-backs, tall centre-backs who can distribute. Well, he's got all of that. That's what he's got from his defensive midfield role as well, the ability to distribute from a deep lying role. So yeah, when Calvin's going to be fit, when we're going to be bringing in probably another double pivot place in the summer window, Robin's obviously not going to get a shout there. And if we do have him next year, so I do think to myself, where is he going to fit in? And that's where the question poses: is he actually going to leave Leeds this summer? But for me, when he's playing centre-back, he's a much better player. And when he started in the Premier League with Leeds United, he actually played 12 games on the bounce. Injury then hit him, that awful injury that he had. And then he was out. And then the centre-back place was lost, obviously. And then he consequently got COVID. He picked up a couple of more injuries. So it's been very, very stop and start for him. But you can't give up on a kid who's 25, a kid with that much potential. And the reason I keep mentioning the Germany sort of aspect of it is because the Germans are a top class nation. They're one of the best, top 3 in the world, and they are still monitoring this kid and still putting him in squad after squad after squad. Now, I think you invest in a player at 23 when Leeds brought him in. 23, I think he just turned 24, as potential, and for us to sell him on for a loss. I mean, you sell Robin Koch on for me for nearly double the value. If you can get, maybe if we brought him in for 13 million and you can get, I don't know, 23 to 25 million, that'd be a really good sort of marker for Leeds. I don't know whether or not they could turn that down if he's not sort of a frequent starter at the back. But on that sort of, slant as well, I'm really keen to see what Robin Koch's all about. And the reason I'm really keen is because what I've seen has been really good on the pitch. I really like him. And I think, as I've said earlier, we will be robbed of seeing that Robin Koch, Pascal Struijk centre-back partnership, hopefully, for a large period of a Premier League season. Two imposing centre-backs who are very good on the ball, have very good recovery rates, and I think we'll have a very good cohesive relationship if they play a little bit more together. Robin Koch on the right side, Pascal Struijk on the left. It just seems absolutely perfect. and then you've got Coops on the bench next year, coming in, being that leader still on the sidelines, like we saw with Gaetano Berardi when he was, having his last season with Leeds United. I'm not saying it's going to be Cooper's last, but I think he's going to have that influential impact on those two. I think there has got to be a point, everybody, where I know Liam Cooper's played very, very well recently. I know, a lot of these players who've been here for years and years and years have played well recently, but there has got to be a time where we've got to move on. We've got to develop as a football club. We've got to progress. And you've got a German international here. You've got Pascal Struijk, who could pick from several nations. And I just feel it's staring Leeds United in the face. And I really want to see that more and more and more. And as well, when you look at the money that we might get in for Robin, what are you going to buy for better? What are you going to buy? If you sell him for 11 to 12 million, even 15 million, who are you going to buy that's better than Robin Koch in that position? It's just not realistic for me. Or do you sell him because we've got a cluster of centre-backs and then put Charlie Cresswell there or Leo Yelder there? But a lot of people are gassing Leo Yelder. He's barely played. You've seen him play really well against West Ham. He's done okay, but we've not seen a full sample size of him. The same is for Charlie Cresswell. I know we're raving. I really like Cresswell. I think he's been very, very impressive. But Robin Koch right there has impressed wherever he's been. He's just not had that consistency at Leeds United. Hopefully with the workload, hopefully with the demand going a little bit down on him in terms of physically from the Marcelo Bielsa era, he'll really be able to step in his own. And once again, even if we don't play him at centre-back, you've still got that versatility aspect if Calvin gets injured next year, which will happen. If Calvin gets injured far too much. And then, whoever we bring in, hopefully we don't keep with, in my opinion, the Click Forshaw thing next to Calvin. I hope we bring somebody else in. But if it is one of those two, if they're not about, or if one of them's injured or whatever it may be, Robin can slot in there. But I don't want to see him just being a rotation guy. I think at centre-back, we're absolutely fine. We don't need to do anything in the window. And I think we're fine at centre-back because of Robin and because of Pascal. And you've got that experience with Liam Cooper and the backups in Yelder and Cresswell. And Llorente there as well. But for me, if you're offering me a choice of who you get rid of, if we are to get rid of a centre back, it's Llorente all day over. It's Llorente all day over Robin Koch. That's my personal opinion. And I got told off for saying that. My opinion. You guys seem to pick up on every single word. I saw one guy put an entire comment out yesterday on words I use that annoy him. Let's look at the context of the video, guys, not the words I use. Some words you might not like, you might not enjoy. You don't have to watch these videos. But yeah, I just think, you talk about potential, you talk about foresight, and I think there had to be that with Robin Koch. Got him for an absolute steal for where he was in his career. And I think it'd just be such a massive, massive shame for us not to see more of Robin. And you know why it is a massive shame as well? Because he'll go on to better things. He will go on to, I think, potentially a bigger German club. You could see that with him. You could see him developing as well, getting more time in the German national team. And that's where I think it'd just be a huge, huge miss. And do you know what? He's looking to get in the Qatar squad. He's looking to get in the Qatar squad. And that's where it's a bit dangerous. Obviously, with that being in the winter, he will want to be playing regularly. And we're not giving him those minutes. He just frustrated me when he's got everybody available at the weekend. And this was a huge annoyance of mine, that he plays Cooper and Llorente. Why not Cooper and Koch? Have that balance. And just someone who, you saw Llorente at the weekend, so skittish, so erratic, and Koch just brings a real level head with him next to Cooper, who sometimes can be a bit skittish and sometimes can be a little bit erratic. Just that calm, composed head. Nothing flusters him. That classic German mentality. But, you've had, this is the profile of the kid. You've had SWR Sports who've come over and they've done an interview with him. I think it was a German lad in Leeds, it was called. And they've done a huge, I think it was about 35-minute production on Robin Koch in Leeds. So everybody in Germany is still well aware of Robin Koch in Leeds. That's nearly got 300,000 views, everybody. So they're well aware of him. And I just think overall, I've got down here that he's really embedded himself into the culture. And, I've seen a lot of Robin Koch as well. He's getting very involved with the Leeds children's charity. And a lot of people might turn around and think, well, that's what all footballers do. But they don't. They don't. And I'm not, this isn't a generalization, but he's been very vocal with his work with Leeds children's charity. He's got himself really involved within the community. He talks so glowingly about Leeds and what he wants with Leeds and where he wants to go with Leeds. He's been very vocal about us not getting relegated and us developing and demanding more from ourselves. And I think there is a real potential there for him to become a leader, a real organizer at the back, especially if he's with Leeds for the long-term future. You know, he'll want to still play in the Premier League, but he needs minutes. So Jesse Marsch has to give him minutes. He really does. I'd be really disappointed if we let him go. I think it would be a bad move on the club's part, and I think it wouldn't incorporate any foresight whatsoever. That's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think on the matter. Please let me know in the comment section below. If you're enjoying these topical videos, please like the video as well. Make sure you subscribe as always. Do you think it would be a good move for Leeds to move on Robin Koch in the summer? I do think there is going to be a centre-back who goes because we have a lot there and Leeds can make money there. But I think, you know, I don't think that we need to make money on Robin Koch. I think we can keep him there because he's good enough. You know, I think he's good enough. I think we bought him, not with sell-on value in mind, but so he can play in the Premier League. As I say, pinch of salt with the report, but it is interesting because I do think one, potentially two centre-backs will be moving on